We are here to answer a simple question. Should you return to New World in 2023? Well, maybe the answer isn't quite that simple. If you are someone who A, has never played this game before, but maybe showed some interest, B, played at launch and haven't touched the game since, or C, come back for big updates and expansions to see if the game is finally what you hope for, then hopefully by the end of this video, I can firmly answer that burning question if you should finally play or return to New World. To understand where the game sits currently, we first have to rewind time and see what has been added since launch. The game launched September 28, 2021, and soon after, we had our first new weapon with a Void Gauntlet. This was able to support your allies and debilitate your enemies. In January of 2022, the game released Expedition Mutators, which finally gave people something to progress towards in the in-game content. A few months later, they added the first new expedition with Tempest Heart. This expedition is visually one of the best I have ever seen, and also had a lot of fun encounters to overcome. Finally, in May of 2022, a new PvP mode was released where you and 2 others would fight in a PvP arena against 3 other players. In June of 2022 was the release of the Summer Medley Fair, and with it came a new music system where you could play instruments that gave you and nearby players buffs, as well as a new expedition called Barnacles and Black Powder. In October of 2022, New World launched its first major expansion, Brimstone Sands, that came with a new zone, expedition, revamped starting experience, and a new weapon called the Greatsword. Soon after that, in December, was the Winter Convergence that added a mutated expedition with a matchup of Starstone Barrows and Amarine. Then in April of 2023 was the launch of Season 1 with a season pass, some new story quests, and a new expedition called Empyrean Forge. And that brings us to the current update with Season 2 that dropped in July. This came with a new season pass as well as Transmog, an elite trial for 20 players, and a seasonal trial for 10 players. That was just a quick overview of what has been added since launch, but of course over that time there were many qualities of life updates and fixes to the game. So this brings us to today and what is coming in the near future. Rise of the Angry Earth has been announced and is coming October 3rd alongside Season 3. This expansion will be $29.99, and if you don't own the game, you can buy New World plus the expansion in a bundle for $69.99. While this expansion does come with a price tag, I believe it is a reasonable price because other games that release expansions this size typically charge over $50. I'm going to read from the website of all the things coming with the expansion, then we'll talk about if and when you should return or even try the game out. Look forward to Season 3 updates for all players alongside the release of Angry Earth with revamped main story quests, open world PvP changes based on player feedback, and quality of life improvements like the removal of wards, banes, and expertise. There has never been a better time to visit the Eternal Isles. Check out the announcement trailer below. I'll have the trailer linked in the description, and I'll also play it in the background. Here's an overview of every major change coming to New World as a part of Rise of the Angry Earth, plus answers to your most common questions such as new system requirements. We're also happy to offer players a chance to get an early feel of these features in the next PTR. Rise of the Angry Earth. The lush greenery of Lysan Wilds, powerful new combat options, and primordial beast lords await those brave enough to challenge Artemis. You will need to purchase Rise of the Angry Earth to experience the following updates. New story. First Light has fallen. Once a welcoming place for newcomers to Eternum, the fields have been ravaged by a fury of angry earth. No one is certain what has become of the people and villages that once populated the area, and a deadly barrier has kept all but the most intrepid from attempting to find out. This abundance of earthly powers has awakened the mighty beast lords, a new possible adversary facing the people of Eternum, but with them also comes a boon, the secret to taming and riding animals. Which brings us to mounts. Very cool. About damn time. Summon a mount for faster traversal across Eternum. Master horses, direwolves, and lions, each with a unique look, customizable equipment, and a name you can set. The new riding trade skill to earn progress like increased speed, buffs, and higher tier consumable food for your new friend. So there's actually going to be a progression system for our mounts, which is very cool. New progression. Increase your character's level to 65 and gear score to 700 with new attributes to help power up your build. Increase trade skills to level 250 with new items to gather, refine and craft, complete new faction quests, and unlock new faction tier loaded with desirable gear and items. So the current player level is 60, so it's going up 5 more levels. They say that it's not going to be a big grind to get from 60 to 65 and you'll just get it naturally playing, so I hope that's correct. Also obtaining gear score 700 isn't going to be nearly as hard as it was in the past. Apparently gear is going to drop based off of where you're at in the world instead of the current slow system of expertise, which is super good to know for new players. Talk a little more on this later in the video. New gear rarity, artifacts. Find and equipped artifacts, a powerful new tier of weapons and armor. Complete a series of quests and awaken the artifact's full potential by unlocking its 6 perks, including 1 unique playstyle defining perk to change your game. They kind of talked about this in a new video that just got released, and apparently you can equip 1 armor piece, 1 weapon, and 1 jewelry. So therefore you can have 3 of these artifact perks. The way you do it, you get the artifact and then you have to complete the series of quests like it says. And after you complete a quest, like one of the quests might say go defeat like a dungeon boss or something, you go do that. Once you defeat them, it'll unlock that perk instantly, and you just keep doing the unique quests. The way to see these quests are you have to have the artifact equipped. So once you equip it, the quest will pop up. You complete the quest and it'll slowly make your artifact more and more powerful, and it's apparently going to be a game-changing item, so you're definitely going to want to grind out some of these. All right, new weapon, the flail. The flail is a versatile one-handed weapon with the option for an offhand shield. Use arcane magic to enhance attacks and buff allies or debuff enemies for an easy victory. Through a combination of melee arcane magic and strong defense, the wielder can bolster their group's effectiveness without dropping the offense. Adding new weapons is always a great thing, just more versatile, and the way the game lets you just use any weapon and any armor allows you to like make your own class, because there's no classes in the game. So just having more weapons is very awesome. Also, leveling a weapon from 1 to 20 isn't going to be as grindy anymore. They said they've reduced it by about 30%, so you can get weapons from 1 to 20 very quickly now. So now the zone transformed. The southern tip of Eternum, formerly known as First Light, has been invaded by the powers of Artemis and the Angry Earth. Explore the raised structures of this magical new landscape and battle the ferocious beasts that have taken refuge in the verdant, unsettled terrain. So it seems like instead of adding a new zone, they just completely redid First Light. First Light was, I don't want to say an abandoned zone, but nobody really used it that much, and this is going to make it definitely more popular because it's the new zone. So they kind of took a zone away that was underused and completely reworked it. Now it's just a brand new zone basically. There's a new expedition, the Savage Divine. Embark on a dangerous new level 62 plus expedition to track down the primordial beast lords before chaos emerges from the depths of Eternum. Is it Eternum or Eternum? I don't know. It's probably Eternum. I don't know why I say it Eternum. That doesn't even make sense now I think about it. New Heart Rune ability. Unleash your inner beast to deal unarmed light and heavy attacks on enemies. Okay. Season 3 content, influence races, a new season pass, a main storyline quest revamp, and more are coming for all players in Season 3. Here's some of the highlights. New season pass. Season 3 introduces a new season journey, new activity card, new challenges, new rewards. The influence races. Capture new influence towers and strike down enemy factions in open world combat for territorial supremacy. Each faction will compete for influence in specific zones during scheduled times. If an attacking faction earns enough influence through PvP missions, influence towers, and forts before the race ends, they'll receive bonus rewards plus the opportunity to declare war. If the defending faction prevents the attackers from scoring enough influence within the time limit, they'll earn bonus rewards for both the influence race and the next war. Regardless of who wins, the attacking faction with the most influence can escalate the conflict into war. New ways to basically play the open world PvP, which is very good. New main storyline quest revamp, Eden Grove and Great Cleave. The Eden Grove and Great Cleave main story quest lines. Main storylines are getting an overhaul based on player feedback and improvements made to the revamped starting experience. Experience these familiar zones through fresh narratives, more quest variety, and a few new surprises. Ward, Bane, Resilience, and Expertise removal. This is like one of those quality of life things that's game changing. We're removing creature Bane perks, creature Ward perks, Resilience perks, and Expertise based on player feedback. As a result, we'll be making the following balances changes. For Bane, we're increasing the base damage of magic and ranged weapons in PvE to make them more effective alternative to melee options against multiple enemies. For Wards, we're making adjustments on the AI and encounter side to account for the removal of their defense and offensive benefits. For Resilience, we've added crit reduction to all players via equipment load, light minus 15%, medium 20, and and heavy 25. Current items with this perk receive the health perk instead, which increases the player's health to a certain percentage based off their health. For expertise, we're making adjustments to the gear score drops from all creatures based on their level. Stay tuned for more weapon and perk balance updates as we continue to implement player feedback in Season 3. There's also a seasonal event which all players can participate in, the Night Vale Hallow. And yeah, there's a Q&A at the end of this. I'll link this article in the description of the video if you want to go over the Q&A. So a lot of cool new things coming. I love the mount systems finally getting added to the game. The removal of Bane and Ward is pretty big because that was always the best in slot gear, and if you didn't have it, you couldn't do the mutated dungeons. So now players are going to be able to essentially get higher level gear, utilize whatever perks they want essentially, and have an easier time getting into mutated dungeons and in-game content. And on top of that, they talk about how mutators are currently they're 1 through 10, and they're gonna reduce it to 1 through 3. So there's only gonna be 3 mutator levels, which is a good change. I'm sure at tier 3 it's still gonna be equivalent to like a tier 10, and then a tier 2 will be equivalent to a tier 5, and then a 1. That's how I interpreted it. But with you being able to grind any gear you want, these new artifacts you can equip to make yourself even stronger, as well as it being way easier to get to level 65 and gear score 700, it's going to allow a lot of people to be able to play the in-game content, which at launch there wasn't really any, but now there's a lot of stuff you can do. So let's talk about, should you return to the game? The big question of the whole damn video. I would say there's a few reasons you should return currently and jump in now. That's if you're not level 60, you should definitely hop into the game and try to hit at least level 60. Don't even worry about gear score and all that stuff because that's completely changing. But once you're level 60, as soon as the new content comes out, you'll be able to jump straight into it and level from 60 to 65. You'll be getting higher and higher gear score stuff, and you'll essentially be able to compete with all the people who've been playing this game forever. So as long as you're level 60, you're good to go. If you're already level 60, you can wait till the expansion drops, but you could also work on your crafting professions. So those are also going up. So you could definitely jump in, work on the crafting and professions. You could also farm materials to sell because there's going to be a lot of people coming back. So if you get in now and start farming some materials up, you can sell them once the new content drops. If you're a brand new player and you're thinking about playing, I would probably wait until the new expansion comes out. It's probably going to give you a better experience overall. So it really depends on where you're at currently. Obviously, if you're currently playing the game, then just keep playing, doing what you're doing. So if you're a new player, I wouldn't worry about it until the expansion comes out, and I would definitely hop in and give the game a try. Obviously, if you don't own it, that's kind of a big price tag to buy all of it. If you already own the game, I would suggest jumping in, making sure you're level 60, working on some crafting professions, but I wouldn't worry about getting gear at all. I hope to do more New World videos in the future, as well as just MMOs in general. And if you stuck around this far, I appreciate you. Have an awesome day.